Washo wafika umsombuluko ongaliyo nokusho ukuthi ke sakuphele inyanga ngempela sonto dudu pheyiye asifika ngeke sigalelekile embukele lenqa izivele yohlelo lwakho ekhaya Jikelele sikuphathela ke imphumela yokhetho lwaseZimbabwe ukudedelwa kuNkulunkulu kaZulu esibhedlela kanti ke futhi silindele nokusingatha ungqongqoshe wezemidlalo kulelizwe uzizi kodwa kuningi imbukeli ke njengenjwayelo angihambi ngedwa ikhontokazi yakwaXhosa ukholosa Lubisi Madlongothi
hayi mamtshali
awuna Blue Monday wena ayikho hlaze yakho normal
intoni Blue Monday nobuye yazi intoni andinazo ezozinto sine Ekhaya Monday linjani weekend yakho
hayi no ibimnandi akufana
ne
sizamile
hayi ngibona apha emqaleni hayi jonga sana ibimnandi lichilo igwijo insasa nensasa ke sivuka sibhotise siphinde sibulela uqamatha namanyange kokuba sibe nakho kaloku ukulibona nolusuku si ekhaya Jikelela sizikuni sizakuni ke njengasiqhelo nalapho ke sithi qhi uzimuncumuncu inoba kaloku bana umfanekiso ngqondweni katata xa isuka eGauteng eqhakazela siziqebhe abantwana ke benje njalo kumhlangabeza sele bevuza izincwe ukubawela oko kuziwe nako si ekhaya Jikelele senza ncakasana olohlobo ngokuba kaloku asisoze size kuwe silambatha sonke izandla kalensasa ke siniphathela konke odinga ukwazi inkqu imiba ke enokwenza nonyulo lwaseZimbabwe uyawukhumbula kaloku into yokubana umntwana uMangosuthu Buthelezi befinya iminyaka engama-95 njalo timle ke ukhalosa kaLubisi unonkanyezi uthi Madlongothi xa undibiza masichaye iqhuma
Mnangagwa Emerson Dambudzo of ZANU-PF party is declared duly elected President of the Republic of Zimbabwe.
Inkokheli yeZANU-PF Emerson Mnangagwa uphinde wonyulwa njengomongameli waseZimbabwe ngempelaveki.
Kulindileke ukuthi adedelwe namhlanje esibhedlela uNdunankulu kaZulu umntwana uMangosuthu Buthelezi izolo ke ubehlanganisa iminyaka engama-90 edla anhlamvana. Lochani, good day. Nilochiswa ngubongi ngwakwamthweni. Ngithi kini ke babukeli ekhaya, bukelani ekhaya Jikelele. Qobe ngamalanga kube ngumvulo, bekube ngolwesihlanu. Baniphathele zemidlalo, baniphathele indaba, baniphathele nomgosi imbala. Ungaphundwa, bukela. Umholi weZANU-PF Emerson Mnangagwa umenyezelwe ngokusemthethweni njengomengameli wezwe laseZimbabwe emva kwemphumela yokhetho. Wehluleke lowo beimbangi yakhe okhethweni uNelson Chamisa weqembu iCitizens Coalition for Change. Bangaphezulu kwegide embili abantu abavotele iqembu iZANU-PF kanti ke amaqembu aphikisayo akhala ngokuthi imphumela yokhetho ikhwatshanisiwe.
Therefore, Mnangagwa Emerson Dambudzo of ZANU-PF party is declared duly elected President of the Republic of Zimbabwe.
Mnangagwa sekuyihlandla lakhe lesibili manje njengomengameli waseZimbabwe nodle ukhetho ngesilinganiso samavoti angu-52.6 wamaphesenti. uNelson Chamisa ukhaleka phansi njengoba ethola amavoti angu-44 wamaphesenti.
Observer missions went beyond their call of duty and began interrogating legislation passed by our parliament. It is my view that every single sovereign country passes their legislation through their legislature, and Zimbabwe is not an exception.
Uchamisa uyayichitha imphumela yokhetho evune iZANU-PF.
Mr. Mnangagwa knows that he has performed a coup since 2008, a coup on the ballot, 2017, a coup on the elected leader, 2018, a coup on the ballot. He has repeated again, 2023, a coup on the ballot. You can't survive this for far too many times. This time, no further. We've drawn a line in the sand. We will not allow you to abuse people. You are not the last Zimbabwean. You are not the only Zimbabwean. We are all Zimbabweans. We all count. We all matter. And we will make sure we take our stand and we defend democracy.
Manje osekuhlalele uhulumeni omusha waseZimbabwe ukubhekana nezinselele zezwe okubalwa kuzo isimo somnotho odonsa kanzima.
Kanti ke umbutho wezopolitiko eZimbabwe ZANU-PF uvuyisene nenkokheli yawo uEmmerson Mnangagwa njengoko ephinde wonyulwa ukuba akhokele ilizwe laseZimbabwe. Mnangagwa ke uphumelele unyulo ngevoti ezimalunga na-53%.
Today the whole nation is in celebration. Indeed, one good term deserves another, and the first productive term of President Mnangagwa deserved another one. We salute the people of Zimbabwe for coming up in their millions to vote for a productive and visionary statesman who is stewarding Zimbabwe towards an upper middle income society. The declaration by ZEC marks the conclusion of the 2023 general elections, and we once again put our hats off to the people of Zimbabwe for conducting themselves peacefully before and during the elections up to this day. It's time, of course, to find each other, unite and put our nation together and resist the debt and poisoned carrots being dangled by foreign anarchists. There is more that unites us than divides us as a people. We are Zimbabweans, and those who came to observe must respect our choices and leave us with the peace they found with us rather than leave us burning. Once again, we say congratulations to the President-elect, His Excellency President Mnangagwa. May God continue to guide and bless him with more wisdom. Hala la Zimbabwe, hala la. Well done, Team ZANU-PF.
Undunankulu kaZulu inkosi uMangosuthu Buthelezi ongumsunguli weqembu Inkatha Freedom Party ubehlanganisa iminyaka engama-95 edla anhlamvana. Ushengeke kulonyaka akazange aligubhe njengokwejwayelekile phela usuku lwakhe lokuzalwa njengoba ebelaliswe esibhedlela kulandela ukuhlabeka emasontweni ambalwa edlule. Kepha ke likhona ithemba emayelana nesimo sakhe kwazise phela namhlanje kukholakala ukuthi angasakhishwe esibhedlela.
Ngokwestatimende esikhishwe umndeni wakwaButhelezi, inkosi uMangosuthu yelulama kahle kakhulu esibhedlela lapho igcinwe khona kusukela ngenyanga eyedlule. Nethimba lodokotela okuyilona elibhekele isimo sempilo yakhe lenelisekile ngendlela ushenge elulama ngayo, kanti liqagula nokuthi kungenzeka aphume esibhedlela maduzane. Selokhu imbabazane ilaliswe esibhedlela, imlayezo eyayifisela ukwelulama okusheshayo ingena ingenile iqhamuka enhlakeni ezahlukene okubalwa kuyo nomlayezo kaMengameli wezwe uCyril Ramaphosa kanye nesilo uMisuzulu kaZwelithini. Amalungu omphakathi nawo afisele usuku oluhle lokuzalwa umntwana wakwaPhinda ngene.
It's a very huge achievement to reach 95. It's a huge milestone. Not everybody lives to that. So I'd like to say happy birthday and many more years to come.
Happy birthday, Nkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Hope you have a wonderful day and many years ahead.
I'd love to first and foremost thank him for his contribution in South Africa, and wish him a very happy birthday. Long live the spirit of Ubabushenge. Long live.
Baba, happy birthday to you. God bless you. We love you.
Happy birthday, Shenge. We love you. We done all good things for us.
Inkosi uMangosuthu Buthelezi ongumsunguli weqembu leIFP ngomunye oseneminyaka eminingi njengelungu lePhalamende likazwelonke selokhu wangena kulo emva kokhetho lokuqala lwentando yeningi ngo-1994.
Isixeko saseKapa siceba ukunciphisa ukuxhomekeka kwaso kumbane oveliswa ngu-Eskom ngamawaka amathandathu emegawati kule minyaka izayo. Urhulumente ke wephondo uthi umbane oveliswa zinkampani zabucala uza kunciphisa ifuthe elibi lesicwangciso sokonga umbane.
Uhlelo lokucisha konga ugesi oluqhubekayo lunomthelela ongemuhle emnothweni wezwe kanye nasempilweni yabantu. Kepha lokhu ke kungase kushintshe esifundazweni Western Cape kwazise lesifundazwe sihlela ukukhiqiza ugesi waso ongumthamo ongama megawatts ayizinkulungwane eziyisithupha ngo-2032.
A lot of that is wind contribution. In the Western Cape there's lots of wind possibilities and some pealing. And you see on the right-hand graph the three main zones of renewables are in the Oeverberg, the Comsburg area, that's more the Laingsburg, Ceres, Sutherland area, and then the Beaufort West area. That's got big potential in terms of wind and solar.
Uhulumeni wase-Western Cape unethemba lokuthi lolu hlelo luzosimamisa ukuhlinzekwa kogesi kulesifundazwe luphinde luvikele nemisebenzi kanye nomnotho wesifundazwe.
And we've set ourselves a target of 5,700 megawatts. And it kind of aligns with what you were putting on your sort of future targeting of ability to move power around. But at the same time, we are also looking at local government networks. And we've got to make sure that these two networks are aligned.
Njengamanje lesifundazwe sinamaziko amancane okuphehla ugesi olinganiselwa kumthamo oyizinkulungwane ezine zama-megawatts.
Bukelwe ekhaya Jikelele yokuqonda ukhumbule kaloku into yokubana umbutho wophuhliso lwamazantsi Afrika uvakalise ungaluxhasa unyulo lwaseZimbabwe. Sawuncokola kaloku nomnumzana umveneno ngumhlalutyi wezopolitiko kodwa ke khawuqale urhabule ufince kuqikelelo lwemozulu. Enkosi ngokuhlala nathi nisasibukele kaloku apha ekhaya Jikelele kwinkqubo ndaba yakho uDTT. Umbutho wophuhliso lwamazantsi Afrika uvakalise ungaluxhasi unyulo lwaseZimbabwe. Abakhimkhanyo bayo bathi ke unyulo lophule iinjongo zedemokrasi. Phakathi ke kwezinto ezibaxhalabisayo kurhoxiswa kwendibano zamaqela aphikisayo kunye nokoyikiswa kwabavoti. Ukuba banzi ke ngendima yeSADC eqinisekiseni ukuba kukho unyulo olukhululekileyo nolungenamkhethe kwiSADC, sithetha nomhlalutyi wezopolitiko umnumzana Mbasa Mvenene. Mnumzana Mbasa, masikubulise sikwamkele kwinkqubo yethu Ekhaya Jikelele. Sibambe ngazibini ngexesha lakho.
Okay, ndiyabulela nami sosam, mandibulise kuwe nakwabaphulaphula ekhaya.
Ungathi mhlambe mnumzana Mbasa ibaluleke kangakanani indima yombutho wophuhliso lwamazwe aseMzantsi Afrika iSADC imazantsi gxebe ekhuthazeni iinkqubo zedemokrasi nokuqinisekisa unyulo olukhululekileyo nolungenamkhethe kumazwe angamalungu?
So the role played by SADC is an important role, but the role played by SADC has limitations. Limitations in the sense that SADC has an observatory role. So SADC observes elections through mechanisms such as the SADC Elections Observations Mission, as well as long-term observation and short-term observation. However, SADC does not have enforcement power or enforcement authority. What SADC can do is to observe, report, and then provide recommendations and monitor the implementation of those recommendations.
Usatsho njalo into yokubana iSADC ibeka iliso ingakumbi xa kujongwa kwimiba yonyulo kuba siyabona unyulo lwakutshanje lwaseZimbabwe apho mhlawumbe abakhi imkhanyo beSADC bekhankanye inxalabo malunga nendlela unyulo oluthe lwaqhubeka ngayo. Ungathi mhlawumbe bebekwazile into yokubana benze oko?
Well, indima yeSADC is also limited by the reality that the principles and guidelines that govern democratic elections within the SADC region have limitations in terms of the implementation of the guidelines are based on the political will of the country that is hosting elections. So SADC can only observe, SADC can only report. However, the onus, the responsibility, ilala with the party that is hosting elections. And of course, Sibonile on popular media, on the news, that there were a lot of irregularities that occurred in the recent election in Zimbabwe. Of course, there were almost 40 civil society observers and monitors who were expelled or who were arrested. And of course, there was also the banning of almost 100 opposition party election campaigns. So those are things that the SADC observation mission can observe, report, and provide recommendations about. However, ubuninzi responsibility lies with ilizwe eli lubambe unyulo ngelo xesha.
Mnumzana Mbasa usathetha kananjalo nge-recommendations. Xa mhlambe siqwalasela unyulo luzayo olwaseSwatini, eDRC, nalapha eMzantsi Afrika kuba kulo nyaka ozayo sizawuvota, ungathi mhlawumbe zeziphi izifundo enokuthi iSADC izifumane kwimicelimngeni mhlawumbe ethe yajongana nayo kolunyulo oludlulileyo ukuze kube kanti sibona impucuko ngendlela mhlawumbe lizawuhamba ngayo kulo nyaka ozayo?
Okay, sure. So in terms of what we can expect, or any recommendations that I would give to SADC, I would say that in terms of what has happened, we have seen that in the previous election cycle, there have been post-election violence, and there's been the expulsion of election observers and civil society organizations, as well as the banning of opposition party campaigns, which leads to political instability as seen in places such as Zimbabwe, Eswatini, and in the DRC, right? So the observation by the SADC observation mission must increase the use of technology in electoral management, administration, and the voting process, right? So the observation mission must be enabled to undertake their assignments effectively and competently. So there should be an emphasis on member states who voluntarily join the bloc, that is SADC, to adhere to what they ratified, so that we can avoid a situation where uvela a hegemon within the SADC regional bloc. It is of course an unfortunate reality that the national electoral bodies are not always staffed by competent, accountable, and qualified personnel who are removed from the politics of the governing party or its military. So most straightforwardly, what I would recommend is that for SADC, its observation mission, and through its long-term and short-term observation, that they ensure that the electoral body must remain independent and act impartially and transparently in the conduct of election, because it plays a very central and significant role in elections.
Ungathi mhlambe yahluke njani indlela yeSADC yokujonga unyulo nongenelelo kuleyo yeminye imibutho yommandla okanye imibutho yehlabathi?
Okay, so SADC has established 13 values and principles that govern democratic elections. They were recently amended in 2021. So these were hammered by the member states of SADC themselves, not by so-called external and international bodies such as the European Union or the United Nations. Therefore, member states should be all dispositions to abide by the SADC principles and guidelines governing democratic elections. SADC heads of state are central in the sub-regional body, Therefore, this strengthens their shared political, economic, and security interests, which may create collective suspicion of any so-called outsiders who in most times have a colonial past. So therefore, SADC approaches observation and elections monitoring differently because it is done by a group of heads of states from within the very same region who have collective interests, which are political, economic, and security interests, as well as sustainable economic development. And therefore, that is the difference. And another aspect of the importance of SADC being a more of an African or Southern African peer review mechanism aimed at improving democratic and good governance within the sub-region.
Siyathanda ke ngokuza kulomba yokubana mhlambe yeyiphe yona miqobo okanye imida isadek enokudibana nayo xa izama uqinisekisa unyulo olukhululekileyo nongenamkhethe kwaye ingasonjululwa njani?
Okay, so the key issues that always pop up with elections within the region, particularly in poorly performing states within SADC, is number one, that there tends to be a militarization of the national electoral body by, for instance, the appointment of former military officers as the CEOs of the electoral body and heightened visibility of the police and military, which is hidden behind the guise of population control that creates an environment of fear by those who support the opposition. And that must be one critical issue or aspect that must be averted by SADC. So I further submit that SADC principles and guidelines must oblige states parties to the SADC treaty to repeal or amend domestic laws that are inconsistent with the SADC principles and guidelines, and further inconsistent with regional and international treaties, since these treaties are informed by the conception and adoption of the principles and norm. So SADC must be able to have more of enforcement power or an enforcing authority, as we might have seen or heard recently with reports and news on the election outcome in Zimbabwe, as well as the dismissal and the attack by the president of Zimbabwe against the report, the preliminary report published by SADC itself.
Ngokoluvo lwakho ungathi mhlambe imiba yezopolitiko nezoqoqosho inefuthe elingakanani ekwazini kwaSADC ukufakwa okanye ukufakwa xebe uxinzelelo kumazwe angamalungu kuba abambelele kwimithetho seko yedemocracy ngexesha lonyulo?
So like I said before, reforms by SADC are hand-holding member states in respect of national sovereignty. So what is also important to note is that here there are definitions, right, within the documents, treaties, and protocols published by SADC. And key to these definitions is that SADC's role is about observation. SADC cannot monitor or interfere or even intervene. What they can do is to report and provide recommendations. So when SADC declares elections not to be free, fair, transparent, and credible, this may cause instability in the region, which may scare away foreign direct investment or decrease investor confidence in the region, right? So as a result of this reality, then the SADC bloc might be deterred or might be discouraged from actually reporting what is actually happening on the ground or making recommendations that will be available to the public, which would then create this kind of instability and uncertainty, particularly in countries like your DRC and in countries like your Zimbabwe.
Mnumzana Umbasa masibambe ngazibini ngexesha lakho ngalentsasa.
Okay, ngiyabulela kakhulu.
Enkosi kakhulu. Right, mbukeli wami lo besithetha naye kaloku nguye umnumzana uMbasa Mvenene ongumhlalutyi wezopolitiko. Njengokuqondo kaloku mbukeli into yokubana mvanje umbutho wophuhliso lwaseMzantsi Afrika uvakalise ungalixhasi unyulo lwaseZimbabwe. Besithetha naye ke umhlalutyi wezopolitiko esixelela banzi ngenjongo yayo iSADC uqinisekisa into yokubana wonke umuntu mhlawumbe injongo uphucula idemocracy phakathi ke kwezinto ezixhalabisayo kurhoxiswa kwendibano zamaqela aphikisayo. Uyawabulala mbukeli kaloku esithi into yokubana njengoko uMzantsi Afrika uza kube elections kulonyaka ozayo uyacebisa kaloku into yokubana iSADC kunye nemibutho ebandakanye efana no-IEC iqinisekisa into yokubana lwenza unyulo olukhululekileyo nolungenamkhethe. Kanti ngoko masithi qhwi evenkileni iqiniseka ugqusha lazi ubukele Ekhaya Jikelele.
Njengamanje ke mbukeli ake sibheke yonke imiphumela yemidlalo yangempela sonto embangweni wesicoco se-DStv Premiership. Ngolesihlanu ke iCape Town Spurs iguqe ngegoli eqandeni ibhekene neChippa United. Ngomgqibelo iGolden Arrows ibuye namaphuzu agcwele ngesikhathi iThelo Thulini iPulukwane City ngamagoli amathathu kwelilodwa. Kanti ke iKaizer Chiefs inqobe okokuqala ngqa kulesizini ngaphansi ke kweso likaMulife Ntseki ngesikhathi ibhabhadisa amaZulu FC ngamagoli amathathu eqandeni. Kanti ke iStellenbosch FC yona ishayelwe ekhaya ngamagoli amabili eqandeni ngesikhathi ibhekene neSuperSport United. Izolo ke mbukeli iRoyal AM inqobe iTS Galaxy ngegoli elilodwa eqandeni. Embangweni ke wesicoco se-English Premiership ngolwesihlanu iChelsea iDalabe iLuton Town FC ngamagoli amathathu eqandeni. Kwase kuthi ngomgqibelo iBournemouth ikhale ngaphansi ngamagoli amabili eqandeni ngesikhathi ibhekene neTottenham Hotspur. iManchester United idle iNottingham Forest ngamagoli amathathu kwamabili. iArsenal yona ibambane ngamagoli amabili neFulham. Kwase kuthi ke iWolves yavakashela eEverton noma ke ivakashela iEverton yabuya namaphuzu amathathu kwase phela inqobe ngegoli eqandeni. iBrentford ishayana yaziyabukana neCrystal Palace ngegoli elilodwa. Kwase kuthi ke iBrighton yakhala ngaphansi ngegoli elilodwa kwamathathu ngesikhathi ibhekene neWest Ham. Mbukeli ke ngesonto izolo iSheffield United yona ibuye ke ilambatha ngesikhathi ishawa ngamagoli amabili kwelilodwa ngesikhathi igadulisana neMan City. iAston Villa inqobe iBurnley ke yona ngamagoli amathathu kwelilodwa. Kwase kuthi ke emidlalweni wokugcina iLiverpool ishaye iNewcastle United ngegoli elilodwa kwamabili. Siphinde sikwamkeleke mbukeli ekhaya Jikelele. Luphelile ukhetho lwaseZimbabwe kanti ke sekungumlando ukuthi uEmmerson Mnangagwa usephinde waqokwa njengomengameli waseZimbabwe. Umholi ke waqembu eliphikisayo iCitizens Coalition for Change in Zimbabwe uNelson Chamisa uyayichitha ke imphumela yalolu khetho. Leli qembu eliholwa uChamisa lisola umkhonyovu owenziwe ngumnangagwa kulolu khetho. Kanti ke mbukeli njengamanje sixhumana noDokotela uVusumuzi Sibanda wesikhungo iAfrica Diaspora. Dokotela asikubingelele ke sikwamukele ohlelweni.
Ngibingelele ngokubalalele ngiyabonga nje lokunxuso.
Dr. Lusibanda yize ke bezingekho kangaka izigameko ezibikiwe kodwa ke bakhona abangeneme ngalokho. Kwenzekeni eZimbabwe?
Okwenzeke eZimbabwe ukuthi umongameli uMnangagwa neqembu lakhe leZANU-PF kanye nohulumeni kanye nayo iZimbabwe Election Commission bayenze lokho abadume ngakho abajwayele ukwenza yonke leminyaka ukusukela ngo-1980 lapho kwelaseZimbabwe ukuthi bayawenza umkhonyovu uma kuzoba nokhetho. Siyazi ukuthi ukhetho balulufake ukubeka ukuthi lwenziwe mhla ka-23 August kuphela kodwa siyazi ukuthi emadolobheni afana neHarare neBulawayo lapho iqembu eliphikisayo ele-CCC elinabalandeli abaningi khona ukhetho aluzange luhambe kahle ngoba lwagcina liqhubeka lisiya kumhla ka-24 ngoba amaphepha la amaballot okuvotela abengekho kuthiwa anelanga kanti indawo ezikude emakhaya lapho iZANU-PF enabalandeli khona baye bathola amaballot kwangabi khona nankinga. So siyazi ukuthi kwenzakale lokho kukhona lokho abephezulu kwakho ukuthi apheke imphumela yokhetho kwathi nama ukhetho lusuqhubeka seza ukuthi abantu sebeyabizwa futhi njalo ukuthi kabaphindele labo akade bebheke ukhetho kumbe bemele amaqembu aphikisayo baphindele endaweni lapho kade bevotisela khona abantu ukuze babaqa kuyolungisa izinto ezithile. Siyazi ukuthi konke lokhu kwenzakala nje bekuphekwa lemiphumela ngoba siyalibona izwe leZimbabwe isimo salo. Siyazi ukuthi abantu beZimbabwe bagcwele lapha eSouth Africa kambe inhloboni yabantu engaqhubeka ivotela umuntu kumbe iqembu eselibhikizizwe laphela kwangabi nomsebenzi owodwa akungeke nje kwenzeke lokho.
Dr. Vusi ngiyakuzwa ubalula udaba lokuthi abantu uxhaso oluningi olutholwa iqembu likaChamisa lilapha na eindaweni esemadolobheni bese kuthi ke emakhaya lena kugcwele kakhulu ke abalandeli beZANU-PF. Mhlawumbe nje ngokubona kwakho yini leyenza laba bantu baseyindaweni zasemakhaya bona beseke iZANU-PF?
Iningi labo liyeseka ngoba liyesaba emakhaya lapha abahlala khona kusho ukuthi izinduna ezezigaba zonke umnumzana uMnangagwa uzinikeza imoto ayinikeze nemali ukuthi zigqugquzele ziqinisekise ukuthi abantu abahlala ngaphansi kwayo lezo ndawo ngaphansi kwabo bonke bavotela iZANU-PF bayahlaliswa phansi abantu batshelwe nokuthi uma bengazange nje bavote kumbe bavotele elinye iqembu kuzobonakala ukuthi ngobani abakwenzileyo lokho uma bekwenzileyo kusho ukuthi uhulumeni abeseqala ukuthi ababonise ukuthi cha akadlalwa ngaye kanti njalo siyabona ukuthi nama bevota sibonile ukuthi bekukhona leli qembu elibizwa ngeFAZ siza ukuthi lixhumane nabe criminal CIO abayibona laba abangebona zokuphepha kahle kodwa abayinhlobo yamaphoyisa la asebenzela uhulumeni njalo ayiwona ahlukumeza abantu akade behleli endaweni zonke zokuvotela uma abantu beyovota babandlule kubo babhala amagama okusho ukuthi babefuna ukubona ukuthi sinibonile ngithi anibhala amagama ngoba kuyikuthi aliphumelelanga iqembu leZANU-PF kule ndawo kusho ukuthi yini enavota kabi. Abantu nje makusenza konke lokho bavele besabe ngoba ulwazi lincane bayazi njalo nokuthi ngesikhathi esiningi makunendlala lapha kwelaseZimbabwe babuye banikezwe inhlanyelo banikezwe no fertilizer kuthi ke ma isigaba singakaze simvotele uMnangagwa kumbe iZANU-PF abanikezwa lutho nje indawo ezihlala khona emakhaya ngoba ziningi indawo ezingamvoteli njalo uMnangagwa mazingamvotelanga abatholi lutho nama kungaba khona indlala.
Hayi asisihle kahle isimo sezomnotho eZimbabwe kanti ke futhi sibonile nalapha einkundleni zokuxhumana abantu banokwesaba ukuthi isimo angeke siguquko. Engabe ke ungakanani umsebenzi owubona ubhekene noMnangagwa?
uMnangagwa akanawo umsebenzi ngoba akakhathali akanandaba ukuthi kwenzakalani ngoba siyambona nje noma simlalele mayekhuluma kuzo zonke indawo akhuluma ngazo ukuthi cha yena ukhathalele nje iphakethe lakhe ukuthi liyaqhubeka likhula uthatha nalabo abasondelene naye bafaka lapha ezikhundleni. Simbonile nalapha ku Gold Mafia ethinteka ekutshontshweni kwegolide nezimali ezingekho emthethweni zingena nokuphuma ezweni. Okusho khona ukuthi uMnangagwa umhlobo yakhe yokubusa yiyo le eyokuthi ubusa ngendlela yokuthi izinto zixubane nje kungacaci ukuthi kwenzakalani, umuntu omunye nomunye aziphele ngendlela athanda ngayo, akukho umthetho lapho. Indlela abusa ngayo njalo uMnangagwa yile yokuthi uyayeka abantu labo abatshontshayo batshontshe, abenza nanoba yini bayenze, okwenza lokho ukuthi abayibona kahle kahle abamsekela ngokwempela yilabo abathola imali ngokungekho emthethweni, njalo abasebenza imisebenzi engacacile, ngoba bayazi ukuthi uma ilizwe lisebenza ngendlela efanele, uma nje bake ngeke bayithole le misebenzi yenkohlakalo, ngakho bengafuni nabo ukuthi kushintshe, ngoba le indlela izwe leZimbabwe phila ngayo isinabantu abatholayo ngakho lokho, okusho ukuthi labo abathengisayo bacindezela abantu bathengise ngenteko eziphezulu. Uthole nokuthi ngesinye isikhathi kube khona ukuswelakala kwempahla ethile ngoba beyibambile ukwenzela ukuthi intengo zikhuphuke, okufana nokuthi siyakhumbula ukuthi enyangeni ezimbili ezidlule sike samuzwa ekhuluma ethi laba abangamandiya abafihle ukudla kuma store mabo ufuna bakhuphe, ngoba manje uzohamba yobathathela lokho kudla, ngoba uyazi ukuthi indlela abasebenza ngayo, kodwa ngoba besuka isikhathi sokhetho efuna kubonakala sengathi yonke into ikhona, uyangenelela-ke ukuthi angabavumeli benze lokho. Kodwa nje ma ukhetho liphela uyakhohlwa-ke abantu bayiphilele ngendlela abathanda ngayo, lapho omunye nomunye enza ayithandela khona.
Ngemva-ke kwale mphumela yini-ke engenzeka, njengoba phela sazi ukuthi-ke amaqembu ezombusazwe lawa aphikisayo ayichitha le mphumela?
Hayi, okujwayelekileyo kuzokwenzeka futhi njengalokho kwenzeka ngo-2018 ukuthi iqembu eliphikisayo lizohamba liye lapha ezinkantolo, kodwa ngoba njalo nalezi zinkantolo siyazi ukuthi abantu abasebenza khona amajaji kulezi ndawo iningi lawo wonke akaMnangagwa afakwe lapho nje engafanele. Uma usakhumbula kahle lo onguyena undunankulu owezomthetho esithi uChief Justice uLuke Malaba kwakufanele ukuthi aphume ngoba ubeseneminyaka ewu70, kodwa ngesikhathi ufanele ukuthi kwaguqula umthetho ukuthi cha angathatha eminye iminyaka emihlanu ephethe lapha ya, wavunyelwa ukuthi aqhubeke khona ngoba uyena osebenza kanye noMnangagwa neZANU-PF. Kanti siyazi ukuthi nalaba owayephethe icala lokuthi kumbe indaba yokuthi yena uMnangagwa wavunyelwa ukungena ngo-2017 uye wakhuthulwa-ke waba yisiphathamandla senkantolo ephakeme i-High Court, upresident wakhona lo uGeorge Jweshe. Okusho khona lokho ukuthi bonke abaphethe lapha nje izinkantolo amajaji wonke asepaketeni likaMnumzana uMnangagwa ukuya nje izinkantolo kufana nokudlala, kufana nje nakho ukuya kulolu khetho iqembu eliphikisayo bekufanele libe kwazi ukuthi cha ngeke nje kube nenguquko eZimbabwe edalwa lukhetho.
Manje-ke njengoba sazi ukuthi-ke neSADC nayo ithe ukulibeka amabala lolu khetho, ingabe kukhona-ke yini okungenziwa yiSADC ngalolu khetho, ikakhulukazi ngoba phela kunezikhalo ukuthi siyazi ukuthi umsebenzi weSADC ukuthi iyoqapha ibheke ukuthi ngabe ukhetho luhamba kahle lukhululekile njalo njalo. Uma ngabe bebona bephikisana bona bethi cha lolu khetho belunamathize thize belunamabala lapho nalapho, then where to from there?
Into siyazi ukuthi iSADC inalokho esikubiza ngetroika, inhloko ezabumongameli abathathu eziphethe lapha ya, okwenze lo nyaka iSADC yanelise ukuthi ikhiphe umbiko osho kahle ukuthi kwenzakalene, kungenxa ekamongameli waseZambia uHH lo naye okwahlukumezeka kakhulu okweminyaka cishe ngamashumi 20 eliqembu eliphikisayo, kodwa bemenzela naye imkhonyovo aboshwe nokuboshwa ukuze angaphumeleli, ngoba uyena oqoke lo uDr Neva Mumba ukuthi abe uyena ohola leli thimba leSADC, ongazange avuma ukuthi ethusele asho ngqo lokho kwenzakeleyo. Sibonile ukuthi nalo obese ngumongameli wase Mozambique phambilini uJokham Chisano uzwakale naye ukungajabuli ngalo mbiko, kanti njalo bonke nje siyabazi nje lapha eSADC ukuthi into abadume ngayo badume ngokuthi ma ukhetho lwenziwe bavele nje babheke eceleni kungaze kwenzakale ini, ayikho into ezokwenzeka. Iphelile le ndaba, ayikho futhi into angayenza uHH ngoba phela kuzofuneka ukuthi iSADC ihlale phansi itroika, lo owayesengumholi weSADC ngonyaka ophelile naye ongumongameli nalo ozoza bahlale phansi baxoxisana ukuthi manje kwenziweni. Siyazi ukuthi nje cha bazohambisana noMnangagwa ayikho enye into esingenzeka kusuka lapha.
Kunabantu abaningi ke baseZimbabwe bahlala lapha eNingizimu Afrika Dr. Sibanda. Uma ngabe ke ubuka bacabanga nje ngesimo saseZimbabwe, ingabe mhlawumbe singababona yini bebuyele emakhaya ekuhambeni kwesikhathi?
Abantu beZimbabwe siyazi ukuthi kunalo 178,000 onamapermit lawa akade kubizwa ngama ZEP akaba senkantolo njengamanje ngoba belwisa ukuthi kabangaphindele eZimbabwe ngoba isimo sisibi. Ukuphumelela kaMnumzana uMnangagwa kuyenze nje yabambi kakhulu lento. Abantu abaningi bebenalo ithemba lokuthi iTCC ibukeka ngathi inabantu abaningi njalo becabanga ukuthi mhlawumbe sokungenzeka ukuthi iTCC iphumelele inqobe, okusho ukuthi bebezimisela ukuthi uma kungenzeka phela kusho ukuthi nemisebenzi nokuthi bayiphilele bangahamba lapha yakwela seZimbabwe. Kodwa awubheka ukuthi inkinga ebhekane nabantu baseZimbabwe ukuthi okokuqala nje iZimbabwe ayinayo imali eyisebenzisa engeyayo. Okusho lokho ukuthi abantu noma belapha eZimbabwe bahlupheka nje ukuthi noma usebenzile umuntu athola imali ecacileyo. Kuthi nalabo abasebenzayo ukuthi basebenza kuhulumeni ngoba kuhulumeni kuphela nabantu abasebenzayo, azikho inkampani kwela seZimbabwe. Kusho ukuthi labo bantu imali abayihola incane kakhulu. Bekuvelile nje ngonyaka ophelileyo ukuthi ngenxa yokuthi kuye kwasetshenziswa imali yaseZimbabwe le abayibiza ngebond, abantu bebehola imali elingana no $70 bagcine sebeli umholo womuntu silingana no $7, okusho ukuthi umuntu mhlawumbe besefana nokuthi umuntu owuthisha uhola imali elingana no 140 rand, 140 not 1000 rand 10. Okusho ukuthi akekho umuntu ofuna ukuphila kuleli yazwe. Abantu baphila eZimbabwe ngoba abanayo enye into abangayenza kodwa impilo ayikho nje lapha ya.
Manje ngokho ukubona Dr. Vusumuzi, ubona ukuthi ithemba leZimbabwe lilelephi? Ikuphi mhlawumbe okumele ukuthi kwenzeke ukuze isimo saseZimbabwe sishintshe? Ngiyazi ukuthi ke ngokubona kwakho kungaba ukuthi umengameli okhona eMnangagwa aphume esihlalweni ingene mhlawumbe elinye iqembu. Kodwa njengoba sibona ukuthi unyaka nonyaka ngathi lokho kunzima ukuthi kwenzakale, iyiphi enye alternative mhlawumbe esinye isisombululo esingasebenza ukuze iZimbabwe ibonise esimweni esingcono?
Into ezokwenzakala ngicabanga ukuthi engaguqula izinto zaseZimbabwe kuzofanele ukuthi kwenzakale mhlawumbe into ezingajwayelekile njalo abantu abangathanda ukukhuluma ngazo, okufana nalokho sesibone kwenzakala kuboNiger nakubo Burkina Faso kwiSahel region, ukuthi iqembu kahlehle asingakhulumi nje ngoMnangagwa kuphela ngoba inkinga yaseZimbabwe yiZANU-PF ngoba yilabantu abathatha lelizwe balenze inkampani yabo bayenza umathanda ngalo. Okusho lokho ukuthi ukuze kube nenguquko lapha kwaseZimbabwe ingeke iphume kuZANU-PF ngoba laba bantu ayikho indlela abayaziyo yokubusa ngaphandle kobusela nokubulala izwe. Okusho ukuthi kuzodingeka khona ukuthi mhlawumbe kube khona umvukela obusuka ngaphakathi kwayo iZANU-PF mhlawumbe osuka kuleli butho. Kodwa siyazi njalo ukuthi inkinga ngeyokuthi ibutho labo abaphethe ibutho ubakhokhela kahle ukuze baqiniseke ukuthi labo balandelayo bacindezele ngeke baphinde bavukelane nawo lo mbuso. Okusho khona ukuthi ithemba leZimbabwe eqinisweni lingatholakala ekuthini abantu beZimbabwe bagcine bethi okungasikufa ikuphi bathathe nabo ezabindu kuphela, kuvele nje kube yimpi nje kwaphela. Yilona akuyona inkulumo ejwayelekile lena kumbe ethandwa nawubani, kodwa uma sibhekisisa kahle ngemva kweminyaka engamashumi 43 kubusa iqembu leZANU-PF libulala leliyazwe ekade sisazi ukuthi belibizwa ngokuthi i-bread basket of Africa ukusukisela ngo-70 lapho kusiya ko-1980, kodwa namhlanje sokubizwa ngokuthi yindlu yendlala, i-house of hunger. Kusho khona ukuthi ukuze kube nenguquko kuzofuneka impela ukuthi kube nendlela yokuthi kuphume iZANU-PF njalo uma amaqembu elapha yaphakathi anelise ukuthi abekwazi ukuthi abantu bazokwakhipha, kodwa njengamanje akwazi lokho. Sizwile nomcwangwa lo osengu-ambassador la eMozambique esithi bona izwe leZimbabwe balilwela, umuntu olifunayo akalilwele ukuthi alithathe.
Sibonga kakhulu ke Dr. Vusumuzi Sibanda ngesikhathi sakho sekufisele nosuku oluhle.
Nami ngiyabonga nibe nosuku oluhle.
Mbukelekelo webesixoxisana naye uDr. Vusumuzi Sibanda wesikhungo iAfrican Diaspora ebesixoxisana naye mayilana nemphumela yokuvota yaseZimbabwe. Njengamanje ke mbukeli ake sithi nje ke shwi sibheke lapha ukuthi kumi kanjani ey'tolo.